What's going on, reefers? Blaine here. In today's video, we are hanging out in the studio, and it's been quite some time since we've gotten an update on the Reefer 250. I know it looks a little bit the same. We're going to be explaining that here in this video, and we're also going to be loading it up with corals. So the tank has battled a lot of different nuisance algae in the past couple months, and I'd have to say this has been one of the tougher tanks we've had to stabilize and get really rolling. We had an outbreak with what we thought originally was some hair algae and ended up turning into a turf algae species that was kind of a longer mid-length turf algae. It became quite the issue in the tank, and what we ended up recently doing was me and Evan pulled the entire rockscape out. We pulled all the corals, all that good stuff, the snails and all that out of the tank. We placed it here in the studio. We set it down. We ended up putting a blowtorch to it, and we ended up torching the rock and torching off all that nuisance algae. After we were done with that, we scrubbed it with some hydrogen peroxide and tried to make sure we were getting rid of whatever that was on the rockwork. But what we're hoping is, after torching off all that algae, kind of restabilizing the tank, getting it back rolling, we're gonna hopefully be able to add in a bunch of coral today, and then we can get this tank heading in the right direction. I am excited to give this update though, and I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the other things that have been going on in the tank. We'll talk a little bit about the fish. The fish have been doing really well. We did start off with a group of 5 firefish. One did jump out, so we now have 4, and that was before we ended up putting the lid on. So immediately after that happened, we built out a lid and made sure we put it on. And then now we have only 2 chalk bass left. That was also a jumper that ended up going through the tiniest hole that we have on this lid. So now we're down to 2 chalk bass. We have 4 firefish from the original group. And then we also have the starry blenny. He's actually hanging out right next to me right now. He has the biggest personality in the entire tank. Whenever you come up to this tank, he's one of the first fish to greet you. I have to say, if you're looking for a fish to add a lot of personality to a tank, a fish like a starry blenny, any blenny of any sort, like a Midas blenny, something like that, is a great addition to a tank to really add in something nice and fun for the entire system. Also, from that original batch of fish, the possum wrasse is still doing really good. That's easily one of my favorite fish in the tank. I really do love possum wrasses. I have one in my tank at home, and I talked about it in the last video. We did an update on the store display tank, and I think adding in a harem of possum wrasses would be really cool in that system. I definitely want to hear down below if you guys think we have any other fish we might want to add to the tank, but I think right now we're doing well. We did add 2 sunset anthias. One of them didn't make it. We just have the single one. I'm kind of curious as to why the one didn't make it, because the other one seems to be really happy. It's definitely getting fed enough. It doesn't seem to be getting picked on by anyone, and neither did the other, so kind of curious to why that one didn't make it. But we have the 1 sunset anthias doing well. And then just recently, I'm sure you guys have seen it cruising around the tank, we've added in a biota yellow tang. Obviously, this isn't going to be the forever home for this yellow tang, but we wanted to add in a herbivore that's going to be pecking away at the rockwork, especially after we did all that work to get a bunch of that nuisance algae off. We wanted to have a line of defense of, combating those nuisance algae before it got to us having to get in there and deal with it ourselves again. Also, too, we have the farm right next door, so we have a huge space where this yellow tang can end up moving into later on down the road. We can trade it out for another smaller tang at any point, but I felt this was a great fish to add in, get into the tank, have a little way of an herbivore to add in for any kind of algae, and if, whenever comes that time it gets too big, it can move right over to the farm next door. Let's talk a little bit about the corals that we added in. We added in a bunch of rock flower anemones. We had a space invader. We did a red goni. We did some zoas, a mushroom. We did kind of a multitude of different corals, a little bit of LPS, some soft corals, things like that, to try to get an idea of how things were going. During that entire breakout period, when we had all the nuisance algae, all those things, the corals ended up doing really well. They actually thrived during that period. So we feel this is a perfect time to really load up this tank with a bunch of corals. So later on in the video, we're gonna head over to the farm right next door. I'm lucky enough to have the farm right next to us. So we're gonna walk on over, we're gonna get with Evan, and we're gonna start picking out a bunch of corals like we did for the nano tank, like we've done in the past. And we're gonna get ahead and get a bunch of corals inside this tank. As for the equipment on the tank, I think overall the tank's doing really well. I really enjoy the Reef Wave. This is a great gyre. I think the Red Sea Reef Wave is a really good addition to any tank if you're looking for some really nice linear flow. I know sometimes there can be issues with gyres, but this one specifically has not given us any issues, and I've really enjoyed it. When it comes to, the entire Red Sea system tying together, this is a really nice addition for anyone looking to add in a gyre, whether you have a Red Sea tank or not. This is a really good addition. I really enjoy enjoy the Reef Wave. As for the Reef LEDs, this is the first time I've ran them, and they seem to be doing pretty good. It is interesting starting and trying out a new light. I've always used Radions in the past, but it's fun to try out the Reef LEDs. Overall, really like the Reef LEDs. They seem to be doing really good, and I've enjoyed what they've been, producing in the tank so far. I'm excited to see a lot more corals underneath them. When it comes to under the hood, we have the reef mat kind of kicking butt right now. I would have to say anyone looking to lower their nutrients, if they have that kind of issue in a system, and if they're trying to figure out the next thing to try out, the reef mat has been unbelievable for us. I think honestly, when it came to the early stages of the tank, I think that might have been a little bit of an issue. I mean, the reef mat was working so well, it was stripping all the nutrients out. That's why we had to kind of work into getting more fish into this tank so that way we could, raise our nutrients. We obviously have the reef mat and we have the Red Sea skimmer, so we have a lot of filtration down below for this tank, and I think overall the reef mat is just doing such a good job of pulling out any kind of particulates, things like that, keeping this tank nice and crystal clear and really helping pull the nutrients. So if you guys are looking for any of these pieces of equipment we just talked about in the little update of the Reefer 250 before we go coral shopping, whether it be the Reef LEDs, the Reef Waves, the reef mat itself, or just the tank in general, you can buy all this from us at topshelfaquatics.com. So be sure to head over, check it out. If you guys are looking for any piece of equipment that you guys saw today that you really like, or even the tank itself, go ahead and snag it up. Let's take the time now to head over to the farm. Let's get with Evan and let's start doing the fun stuff. Let's start shopping for some corals and get this tank filled out. All right, we've made our way over to the farm, just a hop, skip, and a jump right across from where I work here at the online division. We're now in the farm. We're gonna be checking out a bunch of pieces with Evan. We've got with him just now. He's starting to look around. He's grabbing a bin for us. We're gonna start picking out corals, and then we're gonna get this tank filled up. This has to be easily my favorite place to be at Top Shelf Aquatics. I wanna let you all know, if you guys are local to the area, you wanna come out and get a tour of the farm, feel free to come in, ask one of the retail associates if they can give you a tour. If I'm in as well, ask for me. I'll give you guys a tour of the farm. Come on down, check out this space. It's absolutely unbelievable, and it's one of my favorite things to share while I'm here on the channel. So let's get to coral shopping and let's pick out some new stuff. All right, we've gotten through the farm. We've picked out a baker's dozen worth of coral frags. We're gonna go ahead and start filling up this tank and get them inside. We've got a nice mixture of SPS, we've got LPS, we've got some zoas as well. So let's go ahead and get to working on getting all these frags into the tank and let's start filling this bad boy up. Well, big shout out to Evan from the farm helping me out and getting all these corals fragged up and into the tank. This is gonna be awesome to see these develop over some time. We're gonna take the day to just let them kind of open up and get used to their new system. And then come tomorrow, let's circle back and let's talk about every single individual frag we've got, the corals that we ended up adding in, and how the tank's looking. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, everyone, it's been a day or so and it's time to check in and see how all the frags are doing that we've added into the tank. We're gonna start all the way on the opposite side and we'll work our way over talking about all the different frags and what we ended up adding. So all the way on the right-hand side, we ended up adding a Grandmaster Goniopora. That is a super killer Goni. I love the colors on it. That crazy neon green kind of highlights really well in it, and I'm super excited to finally have one up there. We ended up moving the red Goni as well to get it up near there and kind of creating what looks like kind of a branching out little Goni garden. Next to that is going to be the star of the show and the one frag that I am the most excited about to have in this tank finally is a frag, well, better yet, a nice chunky mini colony of the Mind Melt Monty. So this is the Monopora, the plating Monty that Kevin has created in the farm. This is the triple color grafted Monopora, so it's got that lime green, it's got that forest green, and it has that nice red. So super super stoked to have a piece in here. We've put it on the outbranching arm so that way it can kind of pedal out and kind of create a nice kind of shaded area down below that we may be able to add in some shaded corals further on. I did forget to mention the Happy Meal monopora that's down on the sand bed right now. It's on a segregated rock. We are a little bit worried about adding any encrusting monies directly onto the main rockscape because we don't want them kind of running wild and taking over the entire scape and taking away from being able to place more corals. But that was definitely an encruster I wanted to get into the tank, so we added in the TSA Happy Meal. Super cool with that yellow skin to it and the bright, vibrant red polyps. Kind of moving forward, we have the Garf Bonsai that is up top, so we wanted to start testing out some acros, seeing how the SPS are going to be doing, and we wanted to get one up top there. Kevin has mentioned we wanted to try to do a lot of the dragons that we have in the farm. I think that would look really cool. Love to hear down in the comments below what you guys think, but we have a Garf Bonsai up there right now to test it out. It's a classic coral, so one that we're excited to have in the reefer. Moving on to another classic. Down below, we have the Raja Rampage. That's gonna be a chalice that grows extremely well for us here at Top Shelf Aquatics. We thought would be a really good chalice to add into this tank here. We added in a nice piece of the yellow submarine favia. This is one that is a classic piece that a lot of people know, and we've been growing out here at Top Shelf for quite some time. So we thought, well, why not add in that Jason Fox yellow submarine, get it into the tank, and get a really nice and unique favia growing on the rockscape as well. Right down below as well, we have the Dragon Soul Favia. This is an OG coral that I am stoked to have into the tank. A lot of people are, chopping these up when it comes to local fish stores, and they don't actually have what is the legit purple Dragon Soul Favia. There's a lot of, wild Favias that are coming in that look like the Dragon Soul, but it's really cool to have a legit strain of the Dragon Soul Favia in the tank right now. And just right above that is a Blue Raven Blasto. We wanted to add in some more LPS as well, so we thought the Blue Raven Blasto was a perfect candidate. And continuing on with more LPS, right below that, we have a nice golden hammer we've added in. We have a huge plethora right now of golden hammers. If you guys are looking for some really nice color to add into your tank and you enjoy Euphilia, or you want to try out Euphilia, this is a perfect one to try out. It's done really well in the tank so far. We're excited to see it grow out, and I think that space there, if and when it becomes a nice little mini colony, will be really cool to see all that golden, little tentacles hanging out down below, right above the rock flower garden. Just above the hammer, we have a Laffy Taffy frag. This is easily probably my favorite Ghani, well, better yet, Bernardipora that we have in the farm. The colors on this one are amazing. When the polyps kind of reach out, you see this crazy violet, light pinkish purple color to it. And then, the main polyp structure on the head of it is gonna have this really nice bright orange and red kind of hue to it. So overall, really an amazing colored coral, and one we definitely wanted to get into the tank. It's a TSA signature piece, so one we for sure had to add. We also picked out a nice torch and we put it in the back. I have to say the gyre and how it's pulling up water, from the bottom and then pushing it out linearly is perfect because it's really pulling up the tentacles to kind of force them to kind of stand up. So I think we're getting perfect flow for the torch right there. So I think in that back little area, I know it's kind of tucked away and hidden, can't always see it, but from this angle would be an awesome space for a nice little torch garden. Overall, we've got a ton of new frags we've added into the reefer. I'm excited to finally get more corals in. I think in the next couple days, I'll probably be adding more as well. So definitely stay tuned and subscribe to the channel so you guys don't miss out on any updates with that. If you guys enjoyed this video, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys saw any specific corals that you want to grab yourself, be sure to head over to the website now, and all of these are available, including the equipment I talked about today with the tank itself, the corals, anything else you guys are looking for, even a custom rockscape. We have it here at Top Shelf Aquatics. So be sure to reach out to us or head over to our website and check out what we have available. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future uploads.